Okay, so getting back into our coverage over the Immortal Hulk, we do pick up with Volume 2 now. Now, when it comes to Volume 2, we pick up with Bruce Banner in a motel room sitting in Minnesota. Now, here's the thing. For Bruce Banner, he does not really remember what exactly happened when it came to the Hulk fighting against Sasquatch. But in our last video, we saw that something had possessed the alter ego to Walter, aka Sasquatch, and try to fight against the Hulk. Now, we were left to believe at first that it was Brian Banner, the father of the Hulk. But for the Hulk, he tells us that it's no way it was actually Brian Banner inside the body of Sasquatch. It has to be something else, but took the form of Brian Banner. But either way, we do learn that that took place 2 days ago from this storyline. So it's just Bruce Banner sitting in his motel room and looking at the mirror. Now, as he looks at the mirror, he sees this reflection of the Hulk trying to break out. And matter of fact, you have the Hulk being able to break the glass. But when we go over to the other side of the mirror to see what the Hulk is trying to smash, we see him trying to smash Brian Banner, the father of the Hulk. Now, Bruce also tells us that when it came to him and the Hulk, they used to talk to one another because, again, they share the same mind. And so for Bruce Banner, he's kind of like, let the Hulk just briefly take over his body to kind of get a better idea of where the Hulk is trying to go to. And so you have the Hulk being able to take over the hand of Bruce Banner to write down one word, home. And the question is now, where is home? But now for a brief moment, we have to jump over to Betty Ross. Now here's the reason why, because for Betty Ross, she's watching the news about the possibility of the return of her husband, the Hulk. She can't believe that he is back because remember, for Bruce Banner, he has not called up anybody that is close to him to say like, hey guys, I'm not dead anymore. I'm alive again, but I don't understand how I'm alive again. But hey, either way, I'm back. He has not called anybody at all. And so for Betty Ross to see the news say like, hey, we have all of these different Hulk sightings, she's kind of like, there's no way. There's no way the Hulk came back from the dead. Now, with all that being said, we do learn that she is being watched by a brand new organization. And it's called the Hulk Operation. Now, the Hulk Operation, their main goal is to, well, bring down the Hulk. Now, we are being introduced to a couple of new characters, like, for example, Dr. Clive. Now, unfortunately, Dr. Clive is going to die by the end of this video. But another character is going to be is Charlene McGowan. Now, Charlene is going to reappear a lot in the entire series of Immortal Hulk. But both of these characters are working for another person, and that will be General Reginald 14. And I really hope I pronounced that first name correctly. Now, when it comes to 14, does run the entire Hulk operation, but technically this operation seems to be run by General Ross, of course, the ex-father-in-law for Bruce Banner. Now, here's the thing, because with General Ross not really being involved with the Hulk operations, if this whole entire operation does get caught by the public or other kind of authorities, then here's the thing. General Ross can say, I had no idea what they were doing. It's him not being actually responsible for the entire operation. It all comes down to one person, 14. Now for 14, like I said, his main goal is to bring down the Hulk. And so what he's trying to do is run tests on different kinds of people who were also hit with gamma radiation. Like, for example, a character known as Delbert Fry. Now, we had talked about this character in our very first video of the Hulk. He was the college kid whose father was trying to create some kind of serum to help people cheat death. Unfortunately, that serum had gamma radiation, and he gave that to his son. Now, at first, he thought his son had died, but in reality, his son had survived. Now, for the Hulk operations, like I said, their main goal is to bring down the Hulk. But here comes the big problem, though. You see, they want to right now learn what makes the Hulk tick. They want to understand everything about the body of the Hulk. But unfortunately, they don't have a Hulk right now. All they have is Fry, this college kid who was hit with gamma radiation. And so for the Hulk operations, they're kind of like thinking about the idea of going after a different Hulk, like possibly She-Hulk, and hopefully use She-Hulk as a way to learn how a Hulk body truly works. But then they realize they might have another way to study a Hulk, or possibly the Hulk, to learn everything about him. Now we have to jump over to Alpha Flight. Now, Alpha Flight was originally this Canadian team in the early days of Marvel Comics. Matter of fact, they had their own series for a good while alongside with the other X-Men books, but over time, when it came to Alpha Flight, they really fell off. They were no longer the popular team. Now, in the 2010s, you had Marvel try their best to revive the actual title by bringing in Captain Marvel as their new team, and Alpha Flight had actually replaced Sword as the protectors of Earth when it came to different things in space. Now, around this time, we're seeing them being still those protectors of Earth just in case there's some kind of space attack. Now, like I said earlier, when it came to our last video, for Sasquatch, it seemed like he was possessed by some kind of being that came from somewhere, but you had the Hulk being able to absorb all of his gamma radiation and most likely that being that was inside of him. But for Sasquatch, he was part of Alpha Flight. Now, when it comes to our heroes, they're kind of wondering if Sasquatch was once again possessed by a being called Tanarak. Now, we had actually talked about that character in our last video, and that being comes from a different reality known as the Realm of the Beast. Now, here's the thing, it was not Tanarak. It was some kind of other being that had possessed Sasquatch. But either way, it's now officially gone. But you have Captain Marvel coming over to her team to say, listen, when it comes to the American government, there's somebody in the government better known as 14, the actual leader of the Hulk operations. But apparently he's pushing for the agenda to kill off Sasquatch because he did kill off a few people in that hospital when it came to our last video. And so right now they're saying, listen, if Alpha Flight hands over Walter, they'll go ahead and kill him for the crimes that he had committed. But there is a way out. If Alpha Flight or Captain Marvel is able to turn over the Hulk, then Sasquatch is free to go. And so now it's Captain Marvel saying, listen, I already know that Alpha Flight is not ready for a battle against the Hulk, but my other team, they are ready for a battle against the Hulk. And so we then jump over to Bruce Banner. Now for Bruce, he's just walking alongside the road, minding his business. But then he is confronted by, well, Captain Marvel. Now, for Captain Marvel, Hulk already knows this is not going to go well at all. And honestly, he's correct because then out of nowhere, you have the rest of the Avengers arrive at that time. So Black Panther, you got Ghost Rider, Captain Marvel, Captain America, you got She-Hulk, you got Thor. I want to say Iron Man again. Either way, you have a whole Avengers team there to battle against the Hulk. Now, I want to shift our focus over to She-Hulk. Here's the reason why. Okay, so for She-Hulk in the 2010s, I feel bad for her character because she went through a lot in the later half of the 2010s. And let me explain. Okay, so back in Civil War II, as we all know, she got her butt kicked down by Thanos and she was put in a coma, right? And so while being in that coma, she had no idea that Bruce Banner had technically committed suicide, by forcing their friend Hawkeye to be the one to kill him off just in case there is a possibility that he could turn into the Hulk again. And so when she woke up, she found out that one, her cousin is dead, but two, her friend was on trial, but luckily he was let go. But for Jennifer, it's still not okay in the whole idea that he had forced one of their friends to be his killer. And so for She-Hulk, she's very upset. But also on top of that, when Thanos gave her one heck of a beatdown, it did something to her mind. And so when she turned into her She-Hulk form, she was really more savage, how like Bruce was in the early days of Marvel Comics. And so right now, she's trying her best to control her other side. But either way, you didn't have Captain Marvel say, listen, We already know how you work, Bruce, that at night is when the Hulk comes out. But here's the catch. You have to die to allow the Hulk come out. And so we're not going to kill you at all. Matter of fact, we are going to take you in without the possibility of killing you to allow the Hulk out. But then you have Bruce say, you don't understand. I am already dead. And then, just like that, he turns into the Hulk. And so then we dive into the next chapter. Now, when we do, we pick up with people just leaving their homes because all the different towns nearby this battle, they're going into green alert. Like, hey, listen, you better leave right now because if you don't, most likely your home is going to be crushed by somebody from this battle, and you don't want to be inside that house getting crushed as well. And matter of fact, you have one family just trying their best to get away. And when they do leave, just like that, you have Ghost Rider just flying through their home. And there goes their entire house in a matter of seconds. But then we jump back over to the battle between the Avengers and the Hulk. Now, here's the thing. I want to shift our focus over to Thor because for Thor and also the Hulk, they had fought a few times over the years in Marvel Comics and also the movies as well. But we see the two heroes kind of going blow to blow. Not really blow to blow. Matter of fact, it's just the Hulk beating down on Thor. He gives Thor one heck of a punch where you didn't have Steve Rogers have to jump in to protect Thor, to give him some time to recover. And then you have the rest of the Avengers move in as well to attack the Hulk. But while you have the rest of the Avengers fighting against the Hulk, you have Steve check in on Thor. And Thor says, I have never been punched that hard before. It kind of seems like the Hulk is more powerful than he ever has been before. Now, that goes into a huge argument, the whole idea of which form of the Hulk is the strongest. But for right now, for Thor, the Immortal Hulk is the strongest form that he ever fought against. And so right now for Thor, he's kind of like, y'all, we might not be able to win this battle. Now I want to shift our focus over to Iron Man because you have Iron Man bring in the Hulk Buster. Now, the Hulk Buster has sometimes done damage to the Hulk, but for me, has not officially taken down the Hulk. And so for Tony, he's kind of like, listen, I brought in the Hulk Buster and I feel like the Hulk Buster should be able to handle Hulk. Yeah, he was completely wrong there, guys. You have the Hulk just rip apart the Hulk Buster in a matter of seconds, using one of the arms to send Black Panther flying away as well. Now for Tony, he was able to get away and fly up into space to go over to something else that he has been working on, and that would be Code Helios. Now, before we dive into that right there, we jump into a battle between the Hulk and She-Hulk. Now, the battle between the Hulk and She-Hulk is very short-lived, and here's the reason why. Because for the Hulk, he realized that She-Hulk is now a savage. It's her tapping into her anger. The angrier she gets, the stronger she gets. And so for Bruce, he realized, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and tap into a different emotion. What if we tap into the idea of you being, scared? And so you have Hulk say, listen here, She-Hulk, for Bruce Banner, I was something that he wanted to keep away. I was something that he hated so much because I represent everything about him. But for Jennifer, you, She-Hulk, she was everything she wanted to show off to the world. And look, everything has changed. Everything has switched around. Now you are something that most likely Jennifer wants to keep locked away because now you are a savage. And it makes her stop right in her track to allow the Hulk to just send her flying away just like that, to bring the fear into her. So with She-Hulk losing, we go into the idea of using the Helios laser. Now we do learn that it's a huge amount of UV radiation basically being hit with sunlight and a hard attack, a hard beam, hitting you all at once. And so for the Hulk, he was quickly turned back into Bruce Banner and just burned down into this form where he is no longer able to fight. It does seem like Bruce Banner is officially dead. Now we already know that Bruce is not going to be dead for too long, but for the Avengers, they kind of believe that he is dead right now. Now for Iron Man and Thor, they were calling this new form, the Immortal Hulk, the Devil Hulk. But for Steve Rogers, all like, no, this is a friend who needed our help, but unfortunately, we were not able to help him at all. I hate the idea that we're calling him the Devil Hulk now. But you have Black Panther and Iron Man kind of tell Steve Rogers, like, maybe you're wrong here, that maybe he is the Devil Hulk because sooner or later he'll come back to life again. And the question is right now, can our armies that can fight against the Hulk could last so long against him in a long battle? But on top of that, are we ready to bury the loved ones if they fight against the Hulk? Because he almost killed off Tony earlier when Tony was inside the Hulk Buster. It's them telling Steve, like, wake up. This is a Devil Hulk. And most likely, if we have to fight him again, we are most likely going to lose. But later on in the night, it seems like we do pick back up with the Hulk. Now, at first, we see the Hulk looking upside down, and there is a good reason why. But we see him being now confronted by Dr. Clive. Now, remember, Dr. Clive is part of the Hulk operations. Either way, we then kind of find out that he's now, the Hulk, is now with the Hulk operation group, but they have cut him up and put each piece of his body in a different jar. A heart in one jar, an arm in one jar, his lungs in a different jar. They're going to study every single part of his body to fully understand everything about the Hulk, to hopefully find a way to kill him off, but also other Hulks in the world down the road. Now, like I said at the very beginning of this video, is that we're going to begin to learn everything about the Immortal Hulk. Not everything, but some more ideas of how his actual powers work. Like the whole idea that he's able to heal up. Because with the US Hulk operation group, they have cut the Hulk into multiple pieces. And so you have some of the doctors look at his heart, but they realize that his heart is still working even though it's not attached to other body parts of the Hulk. And matter of fact, they cut the heart in half, but the heart comes back together once the heart is near the rest of the different pieces of the Hulk. And matter of fact, the head of the Hulk is trying to talk even though it does not have the lungs to talk. And so you didn't have the Hulk still being able to take his hand and give the middle finger. It kind of shows how powerful the Hulk is, even though right now he has been cut up into many pieces. Now they're also wondering, why hasn't the Hulk different pieces led to him creating other smaller Hulks? It's them saying, like, for example, if they cut off the hand of the Hulk, why does the hand grow a brand new body for itself? So it'll be two Hulks in the same room. Or if you cut the leg off the Hulk, why does that leg does not grow a new body for itself, giving another Hulk life in the world? It's them wondering, how in the world does the Hulk healing factor truly work? Now, I want you guys to think back to what I said earlier about the whole idea that the Hulk operations is actually a government operation, but an illegal government operation. Like, you had different people kind of misplace some paperwork to kind of get the whole entire thing running, and they're running off the books. And so for Captain Marvel, when she had tried to look into what happened to the Hulk after the Avengers were able to capture him, she can't find him anywhere at all. And so she realized if she puts out some bad press about the whole idea, the possibility that the government is holding onto the Hulk in some illegal operation, then when it comes to the Hulk operation, then most likely they're going to have to move the Hulk. And when they do, they're going to slip up. But also, they're trying to track the Hulk. But it can't track the Hulk if he's underground. And so while they're trying to move the Hulk, he will have to come out of underground and then they'll be able to locate him. And so it's Captain Marvel saying, let's put some bad press out there to put some pressure on them. With that kind of pressure, they're going to have no choice but to go ahead and try to move the Hulk. And when they do, we should be able to locate him. Now, for Dr. Clive, he gets word very quickly about what is happening to the Hulk. Like, the bad press is out there. The press knows that there was some possible illegal government operation that has captured the Hulk. And right now, we're getting out there that you have all these other different government operations going on trying to figure out what exactly happened to the Hulk. And people are getting moved or fired in the government. And so right now, for Dr. Clive, he knows they got to move sites. They got to go somewhere else before the entire operation is shut down. Now, for the Hulk, he is enjoying seeing Dr. Clive freaking out. But then Dr. Clive realized that the Hulk wanted this. He wanted them to test on them to figure out what he is able to do. Because once they know what he can do, then he'll also know what he can do. And then just like that, he breaks out of all the different glasses in the room and beginning to put himself back together. And while he is doing that, Dr. Clive unfortunately is caught in the middle. It's just him being absorbed into the body of the Hulk. And so we're kind of left to believe that, well, Dr. Clive is dead. And so with that happening, now the Hulk has the ability to get the heck out of there. Once we jump back over to Walter, aka Sasquatch, and also Dr. McGee, you have the two characters trying their best to figure out how in the world they're going to find the Hulk. Now, really, seeing them kind of work it out on how they're going to find the Hulk is not really important for the end of this chapter, so we quickly jump back over to the Hulk. So when we do jump back over to the Hulk, we see him being able to break free, make it back over to the surface after breaking out of Operation or Hulk Operation base. Either way, once he does get back over to the surface, he's hit by the sun. And of course, it turns him back over into Bruce Banner. Now, apparently we do learn that with the Hulk operation, taking the Hulk in and moving him across the country, he's now getting closer and closer to his home. Now, we still have no idea what that home is, but apparently it's nearby New Mexico. And the book kind of ends on that note right there. And so with that being said, guys, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.